All right. Well, we are live. And let me first say, let me apologize for our technical difficulties. As we all know, Facebook is doing its own thing, but we are here and we are excited to talk. My guest is here and she is amazing because she fixes all things. But do me a favor, as you are coming into this live, I need you to do this. Start liking it. Start sharing it as you're coming in. Say something to us. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're from. And as you're coming in, we want to hear from you because today we want to talk about some things have to change. Oh man, that's what we want to talk about today. That some things have to change. So as you're coming in, start liking it. Start sharing this as you're coming in. Start liking it and sharing it. Start liking and sharing it. We are excited. Listen, as we understand that the world is at a interesting place, the world is at a stand still. In some aspects, we are still excited because there are still so many things that can get done and that will get done. And so, again, as you are coming in, please like it, please share it, please like and share it as you are coming in. Please like and share it. Well, I'm going to get started as we have had some hiccups and technical difficulties. But guess what? We are here. We are ready. And so I'm going to bring in now. She is, I always say, truthfully, she really doesn't need an introduction because she is who she is. But the truth of the matter is, um, she has done so many things. You've seen her on the Word Network. She has worked in the front. She's a host. You've seen in the front as a celebrity stylist, as an MC, as a preacher, as a. I found this out just watching something on Facebook. She can sing. She has a plethora of things that she can do. But the truth is, she is a marketing guru, and I want y'all to start with the hearts and the likes. Get them going as I bring in my sister, my friend, Neechy Neech. She is on. What's up, Neechy? How are you feeling?
Hey, we made it. We made it.
We
We
made
made
it.
it.
We definitely made it. How are you feeling today, Neechy?
I am feeling good. I would say, not to be overly churchy, but waking up in the land of the living has been an understatement. I don't think we made that statement right until now. So I'm
Oh
glad
my
about
gosh.
it.
That is so true. I mean, with so many things going on in the world, I've seen some people say you can't be that happy. I'm pretty happy that I am
Yes.
on this side of the ground and not
Okay.
6 feet under. So
Yeah.
I am so excited to have you on. Again, as you all are coming in, please share. Please share this live as you're coming in. Let's get started on this conversation. Nietzsche, it is, I posted something on my social media page the other day, and I said, creatives create. This is the greatest time for creatives. Some creatives, they don't feel that way. Some creatives feel like maybe they aren't getting calls and different things of that nature. But the truth is, this is the greatest time for creatives. This is the greatest time for media teams. This is the time that most have been looking for and waiting for. And as I've been looking and I'm sure the same thing with you as you have so many different clients from artists to churches and other things that you service that things are now moving towards the digital and the internet when there was so many people saying I don't want to do that. I don't want to go that direction. And we don't want to get into it fully, but we've seen debates even on Facebook of should we have church, should we not have church? And my true heart, Nietzsche, is that whether we should have church or not have church in the church building, the truth is these are some things that were needed, period, point blank, before this pandemic happened. And so when I was thinking and different clients calling me, something that popped in my head was some things gotta change. Nietzsche, what you just gotta say on that?
You know, I've had so many conversations with leaders and the such. I just give you guys an example. There was one particular scenario where I was sharing with them that they needed to go live with their Bible studies, with their prayer services, with their Sunday services, and the response was they did not want to go live because they felt that if they went live, that people would not show up to church on Sunday, and they felt that
Mm,
they would not give. And I tried to explain that we have to understand that the digital universe opens us up to more than we could ever open ourselves up to just within our buildings, whether it's a church, whether it's a business, whether it's a restaurant, whatever it is. That restaurant is servicing people that are in that city that know about it, but they can get love from around the country. You know what I'm saying? These
absolutely.
cupcake places have their own shops in a respective city, but if they decided that they did not want to be digital in any kind of way, they will be missing out on orders that can be shipped. That's additional money. And so it is necessary, absolutely necessary. And
Yeah,
yes, it should have been in place months ago, years ago. All of this should have been in place. And what we're seeing, Eric, is that right now people are scrambling to figure out how to live stream, how to text to give, how to get an e-blast together. They're trying to figure all that out now. And that's where you and I come into play. You know, you're the most amazing graphic designer. I'm sure you've got clients that are just, super popular. We've been seeing your stuff. You know what I'm saying? We've been seeing you. Okay. And so, so this is where we come into play to kind of help them
absolutely.
to navigate this. But um, it was necessary a long time ago. It was definitely,
Absolutely.
and it's unfortunate that it's just now happening.
That and when we talk about some things have to change, we got to dive into what are some of these things, because even on the avenue of I had a client that here recently, and it worked for him. So those of you who are logging on, hopefully you are taking notes, hopefully you're listening. If you have questions, please put them in the comment box. I had a recent client who I am extremely proud of, who is very cutting edge, understands where things need to be. But what he done, he pre-recorded his service, pre-recorded his service, and from pre-recording the service, where they once were only streaming on Facebook, now we have set it up on the avenues to where everything went live at once. So they're on YouTube now. Now it's streaming through their Facebook as well. The avenue of this is, and we got to be honest, Facebook Live is not the only avenue for us to get the message out. And so when I'm watching Facebook, unfortunately, I like to scroll and I like to be on my phone. So there's a few things. I don't have the streaming device to stream it to my TV, but when I put it on YouTube, I have that advantage to stream it on all my Roku devices. Shout out to Roku, because all my TVs in the house is Roku TVs. And so I stream it to those avenues, but now the message is getting out and it's bigger. Nietzsche, again, you're a preacher and you have so many plethora of clients. How about we talk about the avenue of why it's so important? Because, some are saying, well, Jesus never preached in church. Jesus was on the street evangelizing and doing this. Could social media and streaming be that new thing that Jesus did in an evangelistical field?
So let me share this example. There probably was a time where Sunday school classes were being taught with a felt board and letters that you attach onto the board to teach your message. And then came along iPads and iPhones. There is no way that you could continue to teach that class in 2020 with a felt board when we are an electronic generation. And so,
Absolutely.
you know, we we have to understand that there is a way to get the message out. And sometimes I feel that our pride will not allow us to take advantage of the resources that we have. There's really no reason why anybody that has any platform or wants to get anything out is not utilizing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. It's all free. It's
Free.
all free. Again, it's all free.
Say it again so they
Okay,
can hear.
it's all free for the people in the back. Like, there is zero reason to not
Absolutely.
utilize that. It is all free. You are going to maybe have a slight but very worth it cost when you want to maybe share on multiple platforms and be a little bit more deeper with it or whatever. But you know, it's all free. And so maybe, Jesus, this was many, many years ago, fam. This was many, many years ago. It will be like you continuing to, at your workplace, at your job, to continue to use a certain type of filing system when an electronic filing system has become available that is more productive, more cost effective, and more timely to use. It is just that simple. I think, Eric, oftentimes that we will navigate these things in our jobs. If we work a regular corporate America or 9 to 5 type job, if they come in and say, hey, this is the new way that we're going to begin to do things, we don't bark. There is a learning curve, but we don't bark. But when it comes to the ministry, we're like, oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Wait, you
That's
want me
true.
to text to give? You want me to text to give? I don't know. I don't trust PayPal. I don't trust, well, all of a sudden we don't trust. But if we were having to purchase something online through an online source, we gonna buy it. We
Absolutely.
Amazon all day. All day we purchase it through Amazon. But let the church say that you can do this electronically through this resource. All of a sudden, we're scared and we're nervous. And so I'm not sure why that is, but this situation that we have found ourselves in is forcing us to go ahead and get a little comfortable with a few things so that we can go ahead and navigate like we need to.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you, Nietzsche. And I feel that there are some avenues that we have to start streaming towards. So, everybody does not have everybody doesn't have the biggest production team. But here's the truth. You don't need the biggest production team.
You don't need it. You
What
don't need it.
this thing right
Okay.
here is
Yes.
powerful. Huh? This thing is powerful. All you
Yes.
need is a phone.
A
And
phone.
and we have to be honest. Now, Nietzsche, what is your take? I got a take on it, but I really want to hear yours. What is your take on our website still relevant?
I'm betwixt. I'm betwixt. I'll be honest, I'm betwixt. I do believe that the website is necessary because you do have a demographic who is not on social. But let me before you guys be like, I knew that was right. I knew that Facebook wasn't everything. Let me give y'all a little something with that first. I'll go back to the website. You do not have to have a Facebook account to see a Facebook video if it is set up properly. You don't have to. And so when we always have that conversation, we say, well, people won't be able to find us if we don't have the website, or if they don't have Facebook, how are they going to find it? They don't have to. An organization is not set up like a personal page. They are set up like a fan page or a business page, which
Right.
means you can say facebook.com/Neechy TV from any web browser, whether you have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything, and you can
Absolutely.
see all the content just like everyone else. So the website, I believe, does need to exist, Eric, from the standpoint of that organization, especially churches, need to have one central location where people can come to, but they should understand that we are not going to the website to see their content like we used to. If you tell me about a person or organization, the first thing I'm doing is typing their name into the search engine in
Okay.
Facebook.
Hold on, Nietzsche. Hold on. You said that the first place that I'm going is where?
To the Facebook or the book of face, as some of my grandparents might say. To the book.
And you just hit my dynamics. I believe, honestly, I believe that every business needs a website. You need a home and a hub.
Yeah.
And we won't talk about it today, but I'll tell you this, that when you want grants and there's certain kind of things that when you want monies and different things when it comes to business, they're looking for a website. They're not going to
Right.
look on your Facebook page. So there are advantages why you need a website. But we got to talk about this day and age, which Neechy, you just hit it on the head. They're not going to your website to look. They're not.
I'm not
They're
going.
going to your Facebook and Instagram to see what it is. When it comes to, and we've seen this because when it comes to different things as far as people coming into the city to see what churches, they're looking to see, well, what does your social media look like?
What y'all doing?
Do you got
Yep.
something for kids?
Yep.
Uh, do you got something? I got a baby. Do you have a nursery attached? Do you have and and here's what is true, that most times most of these churches they're doing something. They're feeding the multitude. Um they have things for the youth, but we're not putting that content on social media. I know some
Yeah.
people that their websites are bogged down with information, and it's on, it's on 100 different pages to get to this, to get to that, and people ain't looking for that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
so
You.
when we're talking about some things have to change, it doesn't mean that everything that you desire can't be there, but you have to make sure that you're streamlining in all directions. Nietzsche, what are some things
Yeah.
that smaller churches can do during this time? We're in a pandemic. Churches are freaking out. Everybody doesn't have the funds to pay. Everybody doesn't have um, the resources. And what I found out is sometimes they might know who to go to,
But they
but
don't have the
in
money.
this demographic, they're frantic. So what are some things that Nietzsche, again, with churches that you have worked from all sizes, and with you being in this dispensation and being a marketing guru, what would you say that some of the churches can do right now?
Okay. I'm gonna give y'all this for free. Okay. So this is what I would do. This is what I would do if I was a small church. Number one, I would make sure that I'm signed up on every social media platform: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and wherever else you want to sign up, and try to make those names all the same where possible. Sometimes those names are taken. I would try to make those names the same as you, as best as you can. That is free. That costs you $0. Maybe it would take you about 40 minutes to set up all of them, make sure that they're all in place. The other thing that
Mhm.
I would do is I would begin to utilize content is king. Content is king. You likely have content already. There is not a need to, at this moment, if you don't have the resources, to go and try to buy all these cameras and record all this extra stuff. Content is king. So if you already have content, begin to reshare that, begin to use that. Sometimes, when we do TV broadcast, typically a typical message might be 45 minutes. I tell people all the time, take that broadcast and split it up. That is content. Take that broadcast. You have a laptop. You probably have iMovie, or you have Adobe or something similar. Take that. You probably have somebody in your church who does do video, or do video, and take those videos, cut them up a little bit, and share them online. Get your church members, get them involved first. Let them know that you are now on social media. Follow our page, follow the Neechy page. If I was starting out, I'd be like, follow me on all these platforms at Neechy, and I would spell it out very clearly. Make sure it's typed out so that everybody knows where to go. Start there, get them involved, and then share your content and have them share it. All of this costs zero
Zero.
dollars. This costs zero. For the person who was saying, yeah, yeah, Neechy, but I don't have a graphic designer. Eric, you and I think both can agree that what you put out graphically is, you cannot play games with it. However, if you do not have the ability to secure a graphic designer, you can really, I think that people think that it's super, super crazy expensive. I think they think that they got to spend $300 on a graphic design. You
Yeah.
can find a graphic designer, ask within your church who does graphic design. And then if you don't have someone there, find a graphic designer to give you one good graphic. I remember when I was kind of starting out, I would say, okay, for a graphic, it's $50. Okay, I'm going to get a new graphic every 2 weeks. That's $100 a month. I'm going to get a new graphic every 2 weeks, and you'll see the progress. But the other thing is Eric, that there are apps that we can use that create graphics, you
Absolutely.
know, for free on iPhone and on Android. There are free graphical apps that you can use. All of that, family, is free. This is, like Eric said, it's the greatest time to be creative. I'll just be honest. There's a resource that I wanted to use for something that I'm doing, and I had to have a come to Jesus meeting with one of my friends. And I said, honestly, I have access to the resource. It's already on my computer. I'm not using it because I'm afraid to learn something new.
Wow.
And so and he was like, Neech, yo, like, why are you tripping? Why are you even looking at getting another source for this when you already have it? He's like, go on. And I know this because this is what I do. So I understand the hesitation of grabbing hold of something that is foreign to you. But family, I'm telling you, just commit a day, get you some popcorn, get you a good TV show on the television, grab your laptop or your phone, sit on the couch, and just kind of fidget around it. We ain't got nothing else to do. We
Nothing
on
else.
quarantine. We on lockdown. This is the best time to get creative and learn some new stuff.
This is the best time. And listen, if you're coming in, please do this. Please share this as you're coming in. But also, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. We'll do our best to answer them. What are some of you all doing? Let's have the conversation. What are some of you all doing um, to get the word out? Are you just not having church? Or are you pre-recording? Or are you going live? Um, one avenue that I definitely saw. Now we saw this happen. I think it was about 2 weeks ago that with Facebook, that the church. Uh, me and you talked about it, Nietzsche. We texted
Oh
about
my
it. The
gosh.
church went crazy, um, thinking that Facebook was against the church, and that all
Don't get me
Facebook
started on this.
lives,
Don't get me started on this.
Christian lives have been gone. Well, the truth of the matter, um, as anything else with the overload today, internet's not working the strongest and all these other things because more people are on these platforms now because there's no work and different things like that. Um, I saw a church do this, and I think that it is very brilliant. They changed their church streaming time. I think they
Okay.
normally stream at 10 a.m. and they
Right.
chose 2 p.m. because they figured most people will be off live. Most people, and you have to figure out what is your why.
Hmm.
Why are you doing it? There are some churches who were already streaming on Facebook, and then they jump to other things. You have to know for your demographics, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to portray? Are you just trying to, keep your current membership engaged? If that's the fact, find what works for that. If you're trying to now spearhead and put the message out so other people can see your church and see the message that you give, then figure out that one. But you have to understand your why. And I think in this time, Nietzsche, we have the advantage and the time. We got to shut down social media and the negative news that is going out right now and take some time. I think you said it earlier. Take an hour or two, get some popcorn and just chill out and find a new craft because the truth is Google is your friend. There's so many resources. She talked about all of the free things that you can do, and there's train yourself. Hey, train yourself. You can get with a me, you can get with a Nietzsche, you can get with other individuals
Hmm.
that can help you get to where you're trying to get. But the truth is, I do believe if some things don't change,
If some things don't change.
when this pandemic is over and we're now back into the sanctuary,
Hmm.
it will be an issue. Let me ask you this, Nietzsche. When this pandemic is over and we get back in the sanctuary, because right now we're streaming on phones, we're setting up platforms in our house. Some are setting up offices and doing all that they're doing. When we get back into the church, Nietzsche, do we pull back and scale back what we've been doing right now? Or what is your take? Because some are only doing the lives and different things to keep their people together for the time being. So, what's your take on that?
My take is you need to be full steam ahead. And whatever you have created during this pandemic, you need to keep it, because the audience of viewership that has been accumulated during this pandemic is not your church members. They are a portion, but a great deal of them are people who are looking for hope, looking for Christ, looking for new businesses to support, looking for new influencers to follow, looking for new products to purchase. You have gained an entirely different demographic of people. I cannot tell you with some of the clients that I have, the amount of emails or text messages that they get from people who say, "Hey, I'm not a member of your church, but I saw your broadcast." And
Mm,
so people everywhere are looking. You have to maintain that. You have to maintain that and then continue with what you were doing in house. But all of this, by the time that this pandemic is over, if this is not second nature to you or to your ministry or what you're doing, then somewhere we have failed miserably. This should become now second nature. Text to give should be second nature. Utilizing Givelify or similar should be second nature. Our leaders greeting the people via social media once per week should be second nature. I can really see that some might end up saying, okay, from now on, even though they may have noonday Bible class at their church, they may make noonday Bible class live on social media because they're doing it right now.
yeah.
More of the services in general should be live. All of our Sunday church services should be live. You can make a determination if you want your Wednesday. Let me share this with you. The other day on Sunday, Dr. Jamal Bryant, went completely viral from all different capacities. And when it
Yeah.
was over, regardless of what you thought about it, he had people who want to give their life to Christ, a whole different demographic of people that he reached through social media and through going live and through whatever other resources they use. So whenever this pandemic is over, whenever the church doors are back open, this needs to maintain. And I do think, Erick, that wherever there's a question about whether or not your person that is your marketing person or your communications person or your graphics person, whether or not they were important, I think it's clear today that they right up there with the minister of music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You need the minister of music and you need your communications or marketing person, whether there's something going on at the church right now or not, because um, they're going to help you to continue to push this and to continue to keep this, this process going, whether we're in a pandemic or not.
And Nietzsche, I think when you just said that about not only your marketing person and different things of that nature, I think that in this time of sitting down and for churches, whether you are whatever part you play, I think that in this time it is very good that you even start to look at some of your disaster plans and making sure that those are written up, looking at your other plans and looking at your workbooks for your church. This is a good time to restructure. So
Period.
when you come back into the doors, you're now
Hmm.
propelling. And the truth is, everything does not have to wait until you come back into the doors because there are so many avenues. Zoom, I'm seeing people use Zoom right now. You can use Zoom to meet with your staff. Start having one-on-one conversations with your staff. What were some things that we wanted to fix? What are some things that we wanted to talk about? Do it now, because what I do believe is when the church doors open back up, that not only are our church members going to run in through the doors, I do believe that there will be other individuals that run through the doors. And what we don't want to do when they run through the door is that we start back where we left off.
It's
I'm going to say that
interesting that you
again.
said
We don't want to start back where we
where
left
we
off
left
because
off.
everybody didn't leave off in a good place. Everybody did not leave off with things being accomplished. I do believe While the world is at a standstill, we, the people of God, are in full speed ahead. I do
Yeah.
believe that. And I believe that we have the avenues and we have the advantage. But what has to happen, we got to silence some noise. We got to
Yeah.
silence some noise in this time. Some things have to change. That means some things that we're used to being on social media all the time. Hey, my wife gets me like, yo, don't wake up and get on social media. I told her the other day, like, I'm super impressed with you because that ain't what she does. But it has now helped me to say what's important. Yeah, when I'm laying in the bed, I'm thanking God, thank you for waking me up. But now when I get up and I'm washing my hands, washing my face, brushing my teeth, now it's more important before I touch that phone that I touch the throne of God, because some things have to change so that not only our media teams and not only these things are affected, but that our overall life is affected in a good way. The truth
Yeah.
is, some pastors, there's some pastors that are on here. Some things that you could be doing right now, you could be getting your sermon series together. You could
Yes.
be
Yes.
propelling for what's next, getting the sermon series together. You got it? Send it to your media team and say, hey, I just want to prep this. Because guess what? Whether we're back in the church or whether we're sitting on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, the truth is you're still going to have and need content. So I believe that this is the greatest time that we shift and change some things. So, Neechy, other than us shifting and changing these things, and we realize that some things have to change, and we talked about should we go back to the same way? My next question to you, what if, let me see, let me word it right because I don't want to offend the saints. There are sometimes, let me put it this way and explain it. There are sometimes that every pastor's message and approach isn't for live. Sometimes, we've seen it. It's gone viral. There's some pastors um, that are very reckless, if you will. Then there's other pastors who just want to deem and do some things for the house. How would you approach that? How should, from a marketing standpoint, how should a a marketing team or a media team at a church approach their leader, and how should the pastor approach it?
It becomes a unique line when you are in the front. Whether you're a brand, whether you're a pastor, it becomes a unique line because you kind of feel like you should be able to share who you are unapologetically in whatever capacity that you want. But what is happening when we put out on social media, digitally, whatever we're putting out, we are building how we are viewed. We're building a story, we're building a presence. And so, whatever we curve, what we want the people to know or see. And so, everything is not for live. Everything is not for live. Everything is not for YouTube. Everything is not for the gram. Everything is not for that. And it does require discipline to do that. If I was the marketing director, the communications director, in whatever respective environments and the environments that I am, I do my best to have a great relationship with the leader or the pastor or the owner or whatever, so that I can share my heart and say, hey, listen, um, we got to pull that down
Yeah.
because this is how this looks and this is going to end up being interpreted like this. We got to pull that down, or we need to curve this way. Or if this is what you want to do, if you want to show this part of your life, let's do it like this then. If not that, then let's do this. Let's have some conversations. Help me understand what it is that you're trying to do, and then let's navigate that, and let's have a very, very real conversation. Leaders, if you have a marketing director or a communications director, I am encouraging you to have a relationship with them. Don't have them in a place where they are just your yes person or just a person that you contact and say, hey, I want to get this word out. The stronger relationship that you have with that person who has the ability to control your brand,
Yeah.
the ability to control how you are viewed. You, I mean, the greatest environments where I've seen us flourish for my clients are the ones where I'm not talking to your assistant, not because I'm bougie or not because I'm high and mighty, but because I need to hear from you
Yeah.
what your thought is, what your vision is, what you liked, what you didn't like. I don't have the time to bounce through your assistant in a bunch of ways to get to you. So there should be a relationship that is solid with you and your marketing director, you and your communications director. They should be able to call you, and when they call, you answer. Because I don't know about you, Eric, but I'm not going to call my clients to just shoot the breeze. When I call, there's a reason that I'm calling, and
Absolutely.
typically it's an answer that I need right away. So I'm saying, for those leaders, for those of you who are in position to control the narrative, um, on both sides need to work to have a tight relationship.
Yeah.
Because how can you know how that person needs to move and shape if you don't know how they talk, know what they don't like, what they do like? You need to be able to know that. If you put that person in place, leaders, if you have put that person in place to market your brand, to communicate your brand, to brand your brand graphically, you've got to have a relationship, and trust has to be built. Because this is, Eric, I don't know about you, but this is what we do in our
Yeah.
sleep. This is what we do. So we're always coming up with ideas. We're always looking at something. We're working when you're not. Even when we're down the clock, we're looking at your page to see what's happening. We're looking at your Twitter. We're looking at inbox messages. We're looking at something that you did last week at church, and we're saying, hey, you know what, that might be good to replay on this or this. We're always thinking. Marketing teams, you're, as much as I hate that phrase, never not working, because I just don't think that that makes any kind of sense. Who wants to never, hashtag never not working? That is
Right.
crazy. However, it's in our blood. It's just in our genes to just be observant. So we're
Absolutely.
always kind of just, looking. So I would say that that is how marketing directors, communications directors, media directors, that is how you need to approach your leader. Let them know that you have their best interest at heart, that we're trying to create a narrative here. And if we do this way, this helps this way. Help them to understand that. And it's funny, I know this is not a prophetic conversation, but there was one thing that I was going to share that sounds natural. I was going to share it later on today. It sounds natural, but it's prophetic. Don't try to hold the clutches of the purse so tight. You hold them so tight sometimes. Don't want to spend a dime. And
Yeah.
absolutely, we should be saving. Absolutely, we need to be mindful of how we spend our money right now. But sometimes we have to spend a couple of dollars so that we can be progressive and successful down the line. Marketing directors, communications directors, I know sometimes it's difficult to express that, to say that this is what we need to spend, that this will benefit us later on. You're gonna have to find a way to communicate that, because otherwise we're gonna miss the growth by
Yeah.
just not spending. Um, you know, Sometimes it's something as simple as a $25 software package or a $40 piece of equipment that is going to bless us the rest of the year.
Right.
Don't hold the purse so tight. Don't hold it so tight, y'all.
That's good.
Let go of the purse
Nietzsche,
string just a little bit.
Nietzsche, I got a question here. Um, and here's I gotta ask this question. They inboxed it to me. And I want you to answer this. The question asks, how do you deal or communicate to your leader when they, let me make sure I'm reading this right. How do you deal or communicate with your leader when you give them ideas consistently, but they don't use them?
That is a unique situation. Sometimes I have found this to sometimes there are people that we admire and we see what they're doing. And if somebody sends me a video of something that someone did, that might be the very thing that perks me to say, wow, I like what he did. Okay. You got to find a whole bunch of different ways to skin the cat. You got
Yeah.
to find different ways to skin the cat, either by showing them an example of something that is amazing. So not so much, we should do this, but hey, I really like what Bishop so and so did on his, and make sure it's somebody that's big. Okay, don't make sure it's somebody that is like bigger than where you are, something that we would aspire to get to. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes we can curve the narrative. Sometimes by creating the graphic and then saying, hey, what do you think about this? And sometimes you have to, if they trust you in that vein, sometimes instead of having all these conversations over minimal things or non-essential, which is a big word for us right now,
Right.
non-essential, sometimes sometimes you need to create and show,
Yeah.
create and then show. Or a software, maybe it's a streaming software. Hey Bishop, when you go live today at 3 p.m, we're gonna do it through here. Here's the link. Sometimes you have to do it that way because our desire is that the ministry that we're supporting, that they are successful. That's our
Absolutely.
whole goal. And so leaders, that is why we give you ideas and thoughts, not because we're thinkers. It's what we do.
Right.
Some of our ideas you're going to shoot down and some you're going to accept, but we're probably going to share all of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're going to have to find another way to skin the cat. Learn your leader. And that's why the relationship that we talked about before, Eric, is so important. That's why
Yeah.
we talk. I have people who sometimes will say to me, um, Neech, why are you asking me what we're going to do? Just tell me what I need to do. Just tell me because there's a trust built there.
Yeah.
You said that we need to paint this blue. Okay, what time do I need to show? I just need to know what time to show up. Relationship is very important with this.
Yeah. And I think you really hit it on the head because you just have to know your leader or your client.
Hmm.
There are certain clients that I know when they send me an email, they'll say, just have your way with it. Cool. And I know where our relationship is, they trust me. Then there's other clients that I've learned Nietzsche, and I'm like, when they say have your way, I'm like, tell me what you want. Tell me exactly what you want. Tell me. But it's knowing the relationship. And I
Yeah,
definitely think that is one of the biggest things that even in this time, you can be learning your leader, learning, you know,
yeah,
as a musician, something that I definitely always would do as a musician. Anytime a preacher would come in, a guest preacher, or even my pastor, I would make sure I'm watching videos of them. I'm
know
watching
what you're
to
talking about.
know what they do. And so some people say, man, they're probably one of the hardest people that you can ever follow. Well, if you go, one, pray and ask God to connect you with their spirit, but also to study. You have to study your clients, study your ministry. If you don't know, ask your leader, what is our purpose? What is our mission? What do we need to do? Okay, there are some times, and if let me say this, if you're on a media team, if you're on a marketing team, if you're on any kind of team at your local church, speak up. Speak up. Ask questions. It's okay to ask, okay, so why are we doing that again? Not to be rude,
Right,
but
just
it's
trying to
to make sure
understand.
that
Hmm.
what the role that you play, that you understand the mission. Because right now, Nietzsche, you could tell me, hey, I want you to help me pull something off. And I can send you a whole bunch of stuff, and you're like, no, none of that's the case. Now I'm frustrated. But instead of saying at the beginning, what is the true purpose? What are we trying to accomplish in the end? What When we talk about some things have to change, this is a shift that is happening right now. And if
Yeah,
we're honest and if we grab hold to it again, like we said, you will be ahead of the game. One last question I
yeah,
want to ask Nietzsche, and then we'll jump off of here for today. If I am a church, small, big, large, and I'm in this time of thinking and strategizing, how do I develop this marketing team and this team that you do talk about?
yeah. If you don't already have one, the first thing I'm gonna say is call Nietzsche or call Eric. No, just kidding. No, but for real, no. So if you don't, you could always call us at any time. But
Yeah.
however, in your respective churches, if you don't already have a team, you'll understand that you are building something that did not already exist, and that patience and communication is going to be very important. You're going to and you're going to have to be okay with a month from now having looked at the roles that people have played and be able to say, okay, you know what, from now on, we're going to shift you to have you do this and not feel bad about it because it is for the good of the brand. And so it is a learning process. When you bring someone onto something like this, everybody's trying to understand, okay, what's the culture? So be very clear about your mission, about your purpose, what the culture is, and who you want to reach.
Hmm.
We as marketing people are always going to say, we just trying to reach everybody. We do have we do have, obviously, if it's a church or what have you, we do understand we are reaching that demographic, but in addition to that, we are always looking at also for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
can everybody see? Right now, everybody's looking for the light. Everyone is looking for the light, and they are looking in every corner for the light. We as the body of Christ are the light. So as you're building that team, you understand that conversation is going to be necessary. You're going to need to have some meetings. Eric mentioned Zoom before, and when you mentioned that, I almost would jump out of my seat because I think that previously we made it seem like everybody had to come to whatever respective place to have this meeting. We just cannot get this meeting done unless all y'all can show up at 7, drive an hour and 35 minutes to come to meet us at this respective place.
Yeah.
And now we see that we can have these meetings and get her done and do it virtually. So these meetings and conversations need to happen. They need to be consistent. You, as the leader, need to make sure that you have a plan and a structure that you want in place. And then don't micromanage. You are going to have to allow those people, because if this is a new thing for you, you're going to need to allow those people to learn, to understand, and to make, not I don't have a better word for mistakes, because it's not necessarily a mistake, it's a learning curve that they may have. When, like you
Absolutely.
mentioned with the graphic designer, um you're learning with that particular designer to say, have your way. That's a learned something. Or you're saying,
Absolutely.
hey, this is what I want it just like you said. Some people are like, I want it just like this. Well, that's a learned thing that we have, because we don't, half the time we don't know what we want, honestly, for graphically. You know what I'm saying? I'm guilty. Sometimes I know this. And so I think you just kind of have to understand that what you put out, they're going to have their interpretation of what you said. And then you're going to have to allow them to work in that space, and then cultivate how they work, and with kindness say, hey, okay, well, move this over here, move this over there, and let's do this like this. And eventually they will begin to say, well, my boss prefers Instagram and Facebook to always be at the bottom and the logo at the top. Boom, we done, we got that. And that's our process. So conversation, process being clear, don't micromanage, and allow them to bloom. And don't be afraid to redelegate,
Yeah.
because if me not redelegating is going to make my situation crash and burn, I'm going to redelegate.
That's true. That's good. And I really hope that you all have gotten something out of today, because at the end of the day, some things
Have to change.
they have to change. They have to change. Whether
Yeah.
you are in a big church, a small church, a media, it doesn't matter. Some things have to change. And then be the change. Don't just talk about it. Uh, don't just talk about it. If you feel like something needs to change, find a solution. I call myself the solution provider, because I don't believe in just coming into a room or anything with a problem. I'm gonna
Mhm.
come with a solution. Not that that solution is gonna be the answer, or that they're gonna go with the solution. But you have to make sure, if some things got to change, they got to change on both persons and both parties avenues and advantages, so that it's not just an advantage for them or you. All right. So some things have to change. Well, again,
Yeah.
I am so thankful, Nietzsche, that you jumped on here with me. Again, like I've stated, Nietzsche is she's Nietzsche. Like, she's dope. She's a marketing guru. I mean, you probably have seen her literally everywhere, the Word Network, and working with so many people. But the truth is, She's probably one of the easiest people you ever work with. She's straightforward. She gonna tell you what it is, but I respect who she is and what she brings to the table. And so, if anything that we've talked about today, if you have any additional questions, you can reach out to myself or Neechy. Her information is right here at the bottom. It's very simple. Neechy. Hey, go follow her. Go follow her when you get off here on Facebook and on Instagram. And then my information is there. You are already kind of following me. So, and if you're not, because maybe you're not, truth is we love doing what we do.